What's up, riders? Old Man Ronin here, and welcome back to the channel. That's right, man. We're doing a shootout between the W800 from Kawasaki and the INT650 from Royal Enfield. You're going to be surprised at what we found out. Stay tuned. You know, guys, one of the motorcycles I've been in such anticipation of riding over the last couple years has been that Kawasaki W800. I love the retro style, which is another reason why I love the INT650 and of course the Continental GT as well too. I love these bikes, this style, the Bonneville, you know, even some of the Moto Guzzi and Ducati, that retro style motorcycle. That is what really trips my trigger. It's why I love Harley Davidson so much as well too, because I love the retro style. My favorite Harley that I have as far as looks wise is the Softail Deluxe, because it looks like something straight out of the 50s, man. It's beautiful. And one of the reasons why I really love the classic 350 from Royal Enfield is because it looked like it's straight out of the 40s. Man, I wish I could afford one. But this video is about the comparison between the W800 and the INT650. And what we found is, well, let's look at the specs first. Well, one of the first things you'll notice between the two motorcycles in the specs that you saw there, because they really look similar, well, maybe not similar, but they're in the same retro, I call it British standard style. About 100 cc's difference, bonus to the W800. However, the horsepower is nearly the same, with just a little bit more torque in the W800. And that's going to start with our first aspect, the engines. I'll tell you what, guys, the engines, that's where there are some subtle differences, but yet some drastic similarities. Does that make sense? Here's what I'm talking about. The W800 has almost 100 cc's more than the INT or the Continental GT in Royal Enfield. However, the horsepowers are identical or near identical. There's a slight edge to the W800 in torque, and we're going to talk about that in performance here in a little bit. However, in that realm, I think that they're really, really similar, and that's one of the reasons why I decided to choose the W800 to go against the INT, is because not only they look similar, you know, in that English standard style, but also they perform similar as well too. Now, as far as looks on the engine, man, I have to tell you this. I love the way that the W800 looks, and I think that's probably the biggest selling point to me on that motorcycle, is that engine's look. That mechanical, retro, almost steampunk look to it. Yeah, that's pretty good, steampunk. That's what makes that engine so desirable to me. I love the way it looks. Now, as far as actually riding the motorcycle, the engines are really, really similar. I think that the transmission in the W800 is a little bit smoother, and I say smoother because it doesn't have near the tactile response that I personally like, which is what, hey, I turned up my turn signal, which is what I like in the INT650 and the Continental GT. I like to be able to feel that vibration as far as subtle vibration, and that brings me to my next point. The W800, guys, vibrates through the entire frame. In other words, the handlebars, you get vibration. The the foot pegs, you get vibration. The seat, you get vibration. I know I've talked to a few people that's made comments on my channel about the W800 and the first impressions, and what they've told me is it's kind of annoying, and the reason why they got rid of the motorcycle was because of that vibration. It doesn't bother me that much. However, I have to admit, I love the fact that I don't get that except for the tactile part for my shifting purposes, and knowing what my RPMs are, even though I have a tack right there, knowing what my RPMs are, because I really love that. I mean, I ride by the seat of my pants anyways, so that to me is more important. I very seldom look at the speedometer or the tack. I mean, to kind of make a joke here, Harley Davidson, you know, on most of my motorcycles has a speedometer right down here. I never look at it anyways. So people say, I want it up here. I don't give a crap about where it's at. I really don't look at it anyways. I feel. Everything is feel for me. But getting back to some of the other aspects and some of the changes and similarities and differences. Now, as far as the transmission goes, like I said, I think the shifting patterns are a little smoother on the W800, whereas the 650 it gives me the tactile that I feel. I want to feel that click, click, click as it goes in. You do feel it on the W800, but I want to feel, again, I'm a Harley guy to begin with, and I want to feel that clunk, man. That clunk is what's cool to me. And so I'm getting that, but without being sounding cheap. In other words, it sounds good, it sounds positive, it's a lot more smooth than what a Harley would be, but I can feel it. And that's, you know, a lot of times guys they'll miss a gear because they don't feel, their motorcycle doesn't, you don't get that tactile feeling. And I think that's where I like the Royal Enfields. It reminds me of motorcycles I've ridden in the past that I can feel when I go to another gear, and it's just like a slight tick in the top of your foot. Because this only has a toe shifter. But that's okay. Another difference is the INT and the Continental. Well, let's stick with the INT. The INT has a 6-speed transmission, whereas the Kawasaki W800 only has a 5-speed transmission. Now, it's not a deal breaker. They both run really, really good.
That's right, guys. It's time for another Maxx Eyewear motorcycle specific sunglass giveaway from Old Man Ronin. All you have to do is be a subscriber, make a comment below on this video of what time you saw Little Ronin roll by, and send me an email to oldmanronin@gmail.com, and you're entered for this month's giveaway.
So who has the win in the engine and transmission aspect between the W800 and the INT650? Well, I'm going to give the win to the INT650 with a caveat, and that caveat is this. I love the look of the W800 engine a lot better. I mean, I love the look of that engine. That old school steampunk looking engine, retro style, I think it's beautiful, man. It's one of the prettiest parallel twins I think it's on the market today. It is a gorgeous engine. Now, as far as everything else, the smoothness of the shifting on the W800 doesn't give me the tactile response that I like, and that's why I like the INT650 a little bit better. I think given the fact that the horsepowers are near identical, so definitely the win is the INT650. That brings us to a next point. Yeah, we talked a little bit earlier about the fact that the INT and the W800 are near identical in horsepower, with the edge going with torque a little bit to the W800. Performance-wise, the 6-speed transmission of the INT650, these guys, I mean, they both accelerate very, very well. I think the upper acceleration in the lower gears is a lot better on the W800, simply because it has a little bit more torque. Not much. It's minuscule, but that little bit does help it pull a little bit harder. Whereas the top end, I think, actually goes a little bit to the INT650. So as far as performance goes, we're going to give a tie. Rider triangle, basic styling, the way it looks, the way it makes you feel on the motorcycle. The W800 is very, very comfortable. The seat on the W800 is extraordinary compared to, I would say, well, a lot of the other motorcycles I've ridden. It's slightly better than the INT650. In other words, if you're going stock to stock, the INT650's seat is not as comfortable as the W800. So if you really want a real world idea, the W800 has a little bit softer seat, and it's going to give you a more comfortable ride. However, and there's always going to be a however in these things, as far as the handlebar position and the way, and again, I'm just jumping on this thing without making any changes, exactly how it comes from the dealer. The dealer set up both motorcycles, so it's identical. The way that I sit on the INT650 is far more comfortable. It is, I'll tell you what, given the fact that if it had a slightly better seat, the overall rider triangle, the way that I'm positioned on the motorcycle, the way that I feel as far as looks and feeling, INT all the way, baby. I'm telling you. The only caveat is, and again, there's another caveat, is the seat is a lot better on the W800. And I know there's some aftermarket stuff for the GT650 and also for the INT650, but without that said, stock to stock, the W800 has a better seat. But the INT650 has a better rider triangle for this guy, and of course I'm over 6 foot tall. So when you start looking at that, man, I love the way this bike feels. I would definitely say that on a longer trip, this motorcycle would give you a better ride, simply because of the rider triangle and the fact that it doesn't vibrate. So as far as who wins in the rider triangle comfortability and look section, well, the look section is going to be personal preference. I think that the fit and finish on the W800 may just be a tad more fancy. It doesn't mean it's better. I checked the welds on both bikes. They're near flawless. I don't see any problem with anything other than the fact that there's a little bit more fanciness on the W800 than it is on the INT650. But if you're about show and not go, then that'll be a big aspect to you. So we're going to give the looks and the rider triangle position and how it makes you feel, we're going to give that a tie as well too, because the fact that the seat is so much better on the W800, and of course the rider triangle is so much better on the INT650, and it's going to become a personal choice. So I encourage you guys to ride them both, baby, and see which one fits for you. I gotta tell you, the braking on the W800 is near perfect, considering the fact that they're really similar as far as what the brake sizes are. The stopping power on the W800 is far superior to the INT650. However, the more I've ridden the INT650, I'm getting more used to the sponginess of the rear brake. And again, I've got a couple Royal Enfields in the garage already, so I'm used to that spongy rear brake. And if that was out, I would still give the braking power to the W800. That thing stops on a dime. This bike stops really well. However, the W800 has a lot better braking power, and that's simply because of the sponginess in the rear brake. And that's the only thing I don't care about it. As far as handling, going around the corners, and smoothness, and being able to trail brake, man, they're dead even. They really are. So we're going to give that aspect a tie. Overall cost, guys, this is where it becomes leaps and bounds. We're talking about over $9,000 for the W800 manufactured suggested retail price, and just a little over $6,000 manufactured suggested retail price of the INT650. So you've got bikes, guys, that are near identical in performance, in looks, in styling, where one is $3,000 less than the other. And given today's market, man, I don't know. That to me is maybe one of the biggest aspects between these two motorcycles. And here's another one. We talk about cost of maintenance. The W800 parts and stuff are a lot more expensive than the Royal Enfield parts. They're easy to work on. Both of them are fairly easy to work on, but I would say that the edge goes to the Royal Enfield simply because the fact that I'm used to working on, and again, this is a personal preference thing to me, I'm used to working on the Royal Enfields, and man, they are simple. They're like a Harley Davidson. They're super simple to work on. So in that aspect, I'm going to give the Royal Enfield, as far as maintenance and basic cost, well, that's a huge thumbs up. But there's a caveat. Of course, our third caveat, and that caveat is warranty. The Kawasaki W800 comes with a 1-year warranty. Royal Enfields come with a 3-year warranty and 3-year roadside assistance, which is without a doubt the absolute best in the industry. Not even close. Not even close. And so I'll tell you what, that aspect right there that definitely blows the W800 away. The cost factor, the price that you're going to pay for maintenance, the cost that you're going to save based upon the warranty is so much better. It's not, like I said, it's not even close. And that aspect means win on the INT650 by far. So that brings us to our final point. Well, guys, we talked about different things, how it looks, how it performs, what the engine is like, what the rider triangle is like, the comfortability of both motorcycles. So which motorcycle would old man Ronin buy between these two if he had the money? And again, let me give you a caveat. I am a brand ambassador for Royal Enfield. It had nothing to do with my decision here, but I have to say this. If I had the money, disposable income, I would buy the INT650. And the reason why comes down to three aspects. First one is overall cost. And what I mean by overall cost is the fact that you're paying about $3 grand more than you will for the INT650 with the W800. Number two factor is the warranty. And that warranty is a 3-year warranty with 3 years of roadside assistance versus 1-year warranty on the W800 and no roadside assistance. Now, I'm sure you can buy it extra, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about why the bike is so desirable right out of the box, or right out of the dealership. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed my comparison. I tell you what, I love both motorcycles, and you know, if I was Richie Rich, it would be cool to have both. But I'm not, so I don't have either. Well, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this video today. I had a lot of fun making it, comparing the W800 with the INT650. And again, test ride both. That way you know in your heart of hearts which is the best motorcycle for you. If you enjoyed the video, give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell notification button. Share and comment. You know I read all the comments and comment on as many as I possibly can. Until next time, guys, ride safe. And of course, keep her on 2 wheels, baby.